And with retention as an agent, you're playing the long game.
Yeah. All right, what's up, everybody? Hey, today we're going to be talking to all you sales professionals about retaining your clients that you just enrolled. So, whether you're just coming off of AEP, whether you're just coming off of OEP, or maybe you're a life insurance or annuity agent, whatever it might be, one of the greatest things that we can talk about in this industry is residual income.
Absolutely.
Why do carriers pay us residual income? To retain the business that we just wrote. It's a huge part of our business. Yet there's a lot of folks that are confused about how to do it. Today, we're going to be talking about some strategies that he personally implements to retain the book of business that he works so hard to go out and find. So, Ronnie, thanks for joining me today. Let's talk about retention, man. How do you do it?
Well, I think retention actually starts when you make the sale because it's important that as an agent, I convey the fact that I work for you. I work for the consumer, and that means answering the phone. You know, it's amazing to me how many clients that I find that are just looking for an agent that will answer their calls.
Wow.
You know, you have to think that we're working with individuals that are typically between 65 and 85 years of age, and they want to have the reliability of knowing they're going to be able to talk to that same person when they have questions, when they have concerns. So the first part of retention, in my opinion, is simply doing what you say you're going to do. You're going to pick up the phone call and do the service work behind it because, you know, excuse me, we always say there's a difference between a sales agent and a servicing agent. Yeah. And a sales agent is that agent who goes into the home, they get the app as fast as they can, they hold their breath and run to their car, knowing they're never going to turn around and look back. They're never going to go back and see that individual. And those agents have terrible retention. They have to keep working because they're not thinking it through. They're playing the short game. And with retention as an agent, you're playing the long game. Yeah. So I think the first thing is to make sure that you're returning phone calls.
Yeah.
I would then say it's important to have touch points. You know, the carriers put out their thoughts on touch points about, you know, the 30, 60, 90 that Humana does, which is very good. And, you know, it's important that we make sure that the client receive their card. It's important that we make sure they're using the benefits, their OTC allowances, things of that nature. But we take it a step further in that once an application has been submitted, we also send out thank you cards. And I think that helps with retention from the standpoint that, you know, consumers appreciate the fact that you've acknowledged that they have options. You know, I used to work with an agent who said, I don't thank anybody for their business because they should be thankful that they have me to work with. And that's upside down from the way that we believe. We believe that that consumers have options, and we want to make sure that they understand that we value their business and their relationship.
You know, old business mentor of mine, Ronnie, always told me, you know, people don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care.
That's right.
And I think that you hit the nail on the head, you know, sending out thank you cards and birthday cards. It just makes me think of one of our partners in Western North Carolina. Very large book of business, like thousands of people. Each one of his members gets a happy birthday call and a happy birthday card.
Yeah, very, very good touch.
I mean, just
I don't sing, so they probably wouldn't want to hear my voice with a song. But you know, we do birthday cards as well. And you know, there was a point where we had contemplated stopping that. You know, we thought, is there any real value in that? Do people even appreciate it? Type of thing. And then we had a customer actually walk into the office and say, I just want to thank you for my birthday card. It was the only one that I got.
Yeah.
And at that point, I thought, how could we ever stop?
Yeah.
You know, because if it affects one person, it makes it all worthwhile.
It does. And, you know, Ronnie, we, as sales professionals, we're always looking to make more sales, right? And it's a hustle. It's a grind. I mean, you got to market, you got to do all these things. Right. But it's amazing to me, as an organization, we support a lot of brokers across the country. And after having conversations with brokers, the brokers that are producing the much, they're getting referrals because of their retention. A lot of these top producing brokers, they don't do a lot of marketing. they're really good at retaining and taking care of their people and saying, hey, tell me about your friends.
Absolutely. We've actually had some agents who were running radio ads, different things of that nature, and they had to shut them down because they could not get to the people because they were just booked out for the rest of the annual enrollment period. And that's a fascinating place to be because, as an agent who's starting out, you're looking for all of this business and you're wondering, where does it come from? How do I get in front of people? And then you start realizing that through good retention efforts and good service efforts, that they will advertise for you. And it's I've heard you say before, marketing is when people come to you.
Yeah.
And your consumers, your customers, your clients, they will market for you if you do a good job. And that retention is part of them feeling confident because nobody's going to refer their buddies over to somebody they're not confident is going to take care of them. And I think that's part of the retention process as well.
So, Ronnie, you've been in the business 25 years.
Yes, sir.
If you were to call yourself from year one, if right now you were to call yourself year one Ronnie James and say, hey, Ronnie, here are 3 things that you have to do to retain the business that you're working so hard to go after. What would be those things based on your experience? Manage that book that you would implement.
I would say number one, stay visible. When agents are not visible, people out of sight, out of mind. It's just human nature.
Yeah.
And Mike here has done a fantastic job of teaching and training Facebook, things of that nature. Of course, I remember back in the days when you had MySpace. And back in the day, people never even thought about that or dreamed about advertising and doing the things that can be done now. But, social media is such a big part. I would say stay visible. And for those that, maybe are not as apt to be in front of the camera or behind the camera, I would say send a text. People now value that communication above all else, which blows my mind. But I went to a conference and they said that now 87% of Americans say their preferred method of communication is text.
Wow.
And I think about how many people don't pick up their phone but will answer a text.
Yeah.
It's not just my college kid that does that. That's actual people that do those things. So I think that as an agent, I would say be sure you get everybody's cell phone number. Everybody has one. Be sure that you get it. That will help tremendously with just being in front of them.
Yeah.
Another thing that we have found that really works is when you write that customer, be sure that you have them put you as a contact in their cell phone. And
how do they put you as a contact?
Good question. And I picked this up from an agent. Again, agents share. That's the beauty of this business is quality agents don't mind sharing their secrets because they understand that a better agent is better for everybody.
Yep.
And when you're putting your contact in, I would not recommend put Ronnie James in. I would not recommend put Mike Newton in. But he recommended put in my Medicare agent.
Great idea.
Because sometimes people forget names. And he tells them, if you get any calls about Medicare that does not come from this number, my Medicare agent, hang up. I've got you. Now, that comes with responsibility as well, because when you tell somebody, I've got you, that means you've got them.
Yeah.
And so that goes back to the whole point of doing what you'll say you'll do. But I would say that I would have done a better job of getting phone numbers so that I can send text, I can stay in front of people. I would have programmed myself in as my Medicare agent. The other thing I would say that has worked really, really well for me personally is that with every person I sit down with, every one of them, I give them a magnet.
Love it.
Okay? Because business cards get lost. Refrigerators don't.
Amen to that.
So I always give out a business card and a magnet and say, just put this on the refrigerator. If you have questions, contact me. You know where to find me. You'll find me by the fridge. Okay.
I like it.
And just have a little bit of fun with it. And, in those types of endearing comments, make a difference to people. They will remember you by that. And then they know when it's time to call with questions, they know where to find me. And when their friends ask them, who helps you with your Medicare? They know where to find my numbers. So I would say those would be 3 things that really don't cost a lot of anything to be able to do that will help with retention. Because like I said, if you're just writing it and running and you're not selling and servicing, you're defeating the purpose of what we do, because there is a good living that can be made from retentions.
Yeah, absolutely. Referrals.
Absolutely.
The referrals. I don't know if you remember this, Ronnie, but a couple years ago, I was talking to you about retention, and you told me, you said, typically when I lose a member, it's because of death.
That's right.
You know, and I took that to heart. I was like, there's a lot of value in what you're doing out in the field, because as we all know, Medicare pays great residuals for us, right? And it's our job to retain that business, but also look at it as not just earning your residuals, but earning those referrals, like you talked about. Ronnie made a comment a couple weeks ago at one of his seminars, and he said, the biggest thing I want for you all is to not be secret agents. Don't be a secret agent. Be visible. Get out there. Tell people. And I took a lot away from that. So great retention strategies here, Ronnie.
I'd also say that this might be a little bit harder for some people to do, but you know, if we lose a Medicare client, we're not able to cold call them because they're no longer our client. However, we actually were able to win a few clients back this annual enrollment period, because even though they had left us, some people didn't understand they were leaving us, but with all the telemarketers, they got confused, different things. We continued to send birthday cards, and we sent Christmas cards, and we do those sorts of things. And we won people back this year because even though they were no longer our client, we continued to send them birthday cards.
Call that drip marketing.
Absolutely. And it
Keep
does
marketing
work.
to them.
Absolutely. It does work.
Yep. So let me ask you another question, Ronnie. So like you're a producer. You run a book of business. A financial standpoint, how much would you say you invest into retaining your book of business? And you don't have to put a dollar figure on it. Maybe it could be time. But as a broker who runs a large book of business, how much time do you spend on retaining that book?
Yeah, I would say that we spend quite a bit of time and money. I've always believed that, one in the hand's better than two in the bush, like you hear. So we've got that one we want to hold on to. We want to make sure we're doing the right things. And there are going to be some people that you'll always do the right thing for that will leave you, somebody once told me they wrote on the chalkboard FIDO, because I used to take it personally, and it still hurts my heart when a customer moves, which again doesn't happen often, but FIDO, forget it, drive on. Okay. We have to continue to go forward, but I'll invest in shirts. Shirts to hand out. I'll invest in the thank you cards, the birthday cards, the Christmas cards. We send out letters to just remind them that the annual enrollment period's coming. We'll send out letters for our prescription drug plan holders to ask them about updating their prescription drugs, and so we always want to do that. And what I'm learning over the last several years is that the annual enrollment period is not the growth period time. The annual enrollment period time is retention time, where you work those 3 months to corral and to circle the wagons around the customers that you have, and you'll pick up some, but the growth opportunities are really in the rest of the year. So from January through September is when we really work to grow the business, and then October through December, which is a total reversal of where it used to be. But once you obtain a certain level of clientele, you want to make sure that you don't have everything going out the back door while you're trying to bring customers in the front door.
Wow, that's great stuff right there. And it all ties back to what you said, being visible, sending out the cards, doing all these different things. Well, man, appreciate it. Those are great retention strategies from a top producer in the industry who's been doing it a long time. So take those things back. They work. It's what he would have told himself when he first started. If you're interested in any of those branded materials, like if you want to create the kitchen magnets, but you don't know how to design it, we got you. If you're a partner, we'll do it for you. We know how to do all those things, and we have the capability. So any of those kinds of things that Ronnie's doing, please reach out to us. If you're a partner, we're more than happy to create them for you. But thanks for tuning in today. Thanks, Ronnie, for your help on retention.
Thank you. I wish you the best.